What I'd be interested in can anybody hear me? I have a sneaky suspicion that nobody can hear me. Let's hear. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Who knows? Just doing this shit music to get a few more people in here. And I seriously do not have a clue what the hell I'm doing. It's been so long. Whoa, when you say it still works, what are we talking about? The electrical kit or else? Something else? Alrighty, people. Alrighty. So it does make me wonder how many we'll get in tonight. Thing is, there's not a lot of notice, and I don't do this very often, so they won't be looking out for it, but we'll see. Some say this is a bit like riding a bike, but I'd say it's more like falling off a bike every time I get and fucking try it. Ready? Got people in the house. 94. Well, we're now in the three figures. That's the start. I can't remember what these buttons fucking do. Well, let's best hope for the best, and I hope the best comes out and blah. Anyway, how are you all? It's been forever, and that's my fault, not yours. 50 PSA's first caller is fridge and microwave. I don't know. Good afternoon. Who is this? No, don't tell me. Let me guess. It's fridge and microwave. No? Hello. How are you doing?
I'm fine. This is Trevor the Plant. Do you remember me?
Oh, hello, mate. How are you? Yeah, you did message saying that you were going to be coming on. So, hello, Trev. Trev the Plant. Yeah. Yes. So, what have you been up to, mate?
I'm still working. Not driving trucks or anything, but I just want to know: are you driving trucks, or you're 8-wheelers again, or?
Right, I'm doing a mixture. So I went over to a different company, which was on the books, but it didn't work out because of, their idea of how things should be done, and the other people's idea, like on the road out there, these people that pull you over is a totally different thing. So I thought, nice, fuck that. I went back to the old boss because in some cases it's better the devil, and I've been driving Arctics for him and the tippers. So I get a bit of a mixture, which also means that come Christmas time, when the tippers go quiet, I can still do the Arctics and do the food. So it'll be all right. Oh, fuck me, the numbers are jumping up. Well done, Trev, for bringing them in. So what about you? Did you go to that march?
No, I couldn't get it. I was ill at the time. I had a 24-hour bug, and there's no way I'd leave the house because of, you can imagine.
Yeah.
I was all geared up, got my ticket and everything, just couldn't go. So that was it. Otherwise, I'll get halfway there and not find a toilet, if you understand what I mean.
Totally and utterly. There's nothing worse. I mean, I think they call it the Bombay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah, and that gives you literally no warning that there's going to be a row in the departure lounge. And then all of a sudden, there's a massive fight in the departure lounge and there's all sorts of trouble in there.
Yes. I also left them a message, Simon, that my stepdaughter still likes you. I don't wish to embarrass you.
No. He says probably turning as red as that flag in a minute. Yeah. Well, I am the eternal bachelor, or so it would seem. Single forever for no other reason, but to be honest, I'm so laid back that I've not actually made a great deal of effort. And it's
you shouldn't be a bachelor. You're a great guy, and that's why I think. I know it's easy for me to say or everyone to say, but you should continue what you're doing. You're great at what you do, and it's great to see you alive again.
I do enjoy this, by the way. It's just usually I'm absolutely so knackered. And by the way, everybody's saying hello in the comments. Hello, how are you? It's nice to see you as well. Well, I can't see, but you know what I mean. Yeah, this is fun, but it's just I feel that this is important, but also the local community, because essentially when things go wrong, you're going to need the ones around you, aren't you? So
that's right, exactly, yeah.
My idea is to stop one of the local clubs going under, get everybody out, get them to bands and music and stuff like that, get them meeting new people, get them chilling out, but also at the same time, they all talk about what we talk about. Just
exactly.
Even the ones that had their head buried so far in the sand, literally they were scraping the fucking lid on kangaroo shit. They are literally now waking up. It's taken a while, but they're getting there. But their excuse now is, well, what can I do about it? Well, if everybody said that, mate, we'd be fucked, wouldn't we?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Simon, I know other people will want to get in, so I'm going to let somebody else have a chance.
No worries,
All I want to say is, great speaking to you again.
And you, mate. So look, if it goes quiet later on, give us another call back, all right?
Okay, Simon. Thank you. Thanks very much for talking.
All right, Trent. No worries. Catch you in a bit, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And speaking of Trevor, which is my plant back there, Trevor is now to the ceiling. Remember that little thing? To the ceiling. And Dave, well, Dave's just huge. I'll see if I can get it over there so you can have a look. That's Dave. Dave is biblical. So it really, truly is Big Dave Green. Let's see if we can get that back. Yes, so it has truly been a while since I've done this. So how do we go about that? Right, okay, let's start off with the weekend. You all recognise that flag. Jesus, everything's around the wrong way here, isn't it? Oh, by the way, when I look in here, this is how I look, but it's not actually how I look to you when you see me, because this is, I think this is, no, it might be the right way around. Oh, fuck knows. Anyway, we got another caller. I'll get round to that in a minute. Hello, the new caller. This is the most confused presenter for a long time. How are you?
All right, Rev. How's it going?
I'd say well, but the end of this stream will determine that. But so far, we're happy. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad. I just wanted to phone up to say fair play to you, really, mate. Just for sticking on your guns and stuff, because it's quite hard. I didn't go on the weekend. I had a bit of a funny tummy myself, but I'm just struggling with the whole. I don't know. It just seems to be a bit infiltrated, the whole movement. And like you said, but you did the right thing by going. I do sort of regret it, but.
Yeah, I went there to be
sort of where I'm at the moment. I'm being a bit black-pilled, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is Paz is in the house. Listen at work, and if you free flag, you get and get you behind you. Fucking hell, am I reading shit today? I'm not doing well. I'll get that in a second. Paz was there. I bumped into Paz. Literally, Paz was the first person I bumped into.
Paz, nice bloke.
Yeah, he is the lad. He's been here before, and at some point I'll have another party here, and we'll get Paz down, and Paz can answer the phone because that was fun last time. Anyway, so Paz literally had the common sense to move to where the studio, no, the fucking stage. Come on, sorry. He moved to the stage so that he actually had a chance of seeing what was going on, because I, like everybody else, thought we were being killed. We weren't. We had no idea of how big it was, right? And you literally, it's a bit like, I suppose, anything, any sort of vase, whatever. You pour enough into it, you can't get any more. And we couldn't go any more down this road. And we'd all just backed up. And we walked about, I suppose, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, maybe. And there was a fuckload behind us. And there was probably about half a mile in front of us as well.
My friend said there was a bit of a mini crush, and that's why they had to shut down the bridge, because they were getting worried because everyone was just piling in. And he said it was quite not scared. Yeah, he said he was a bit scared.
Well, it probably would be, mate. Yeah, because I mean, there was a lot of sizable blokes there who wanted to get to see what was going on, and if everybody pushed forward, I can imagine it. But it was massive, and you wouldn't have got any more near the stage. So, and I was the other side of the bridge, and then some. So I just fuck, that's it. Rev, you've just described Witherspoons, or at least the queue for the toilet. I'm just reading out the comments here. What is it they called us? The Witherspoons faithful, the people that went. That's not entirely accurate, although, yeah, all right, maybe it is for me, actually, because whenever I go to London, if you go to a non-Witherspoons bar, I bought 3 drinks and it cost £22 something, and it wasn't even nice. But I only had a couple of beers because I was driving, so you couldn't. And not just that, I don't drink as much these days.
How are you getting on with that? Because I followed you. You're doing quite well, weren't you? Like off it, and
I came off it, then I went back on it, and then now I went on holiday, and I had 2 pints a day on holiday. So what does that tell you?
Bad, though. That's pretty good.
Saved a load of money. I mean, if I want to have a drink, I'd have a drink, but my tolerance has gone right down now. Some of you may notice that I've lost a little bit of weight, right? But by doing that, I've been having 1 meal a day. My stomach's shrunk, and I only have a couple of beers now, and I feel pickled. So it's cheap. I'll give you that. Really cheap. The 1 meal a day thing, you don't have to do it every day. Just if you're doing it every so often, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days a week, you're reducing your calories so much so that basically you are going to lose weight if you're taking in less than you used to, right? It's common sense, but there you go. But yeah, going back to this.
That's a way of doing it, though. Intermittent fasting, isn't it? So you sort of try and eat later, and then just have a 6-hour window or whatever, and then do that every day.
I generally have just the 1 meal. That's it, and I don't have anything after that if I can do it, right? Yeah. Get bad days though, but I do drink when I go to the pub. But going back to the March thing, which is what we was going to be talking about.
Yeah, no.
We saw a massive amount of new people going, families, all the different colors, people you wouldn't expect, old people. I think there were lefties there. I truly believe that there were lefties there that went there with honest intentions to see what it was all about, and were these people hoodlums? And yeah, you'd get a few there, but you would anyway. But for the little amount of trouble there was, I mean, what was it, sort of 8, 9 maybe arrests, whatever. That's nothing in a city that size and with that amount of people.
It just makes me hate the media even more, though, just with the numbers thing. Oh, there's 100. There was way more than 100K, like way more.
Right. Somebody's asking me how many in my honest opinion. I would have said at least 1.5 to 2 million. As many showed up. As many that showed up to the council, not the council tax. Was it the council tax? Remember back in the 90s? Poll tax. That was it. About as many as went to that, I would say, at least. So
I was born in 1990, so
savage. I was 15 when we came into the 90s. So, but the poll tax rise. The difference is the poll tax was a couple of fucking people who didn't want to pay as much, and we came out to protest our kids being raped, our country being taken over, obviously political assassinations.
Was that Thatcher that?
I can't remember. I think it was the end of Thatcher, really. It was either Thatcher or the beginning of Major. I think it was Thatcher. Yeah. But at the time, what they were doing is they were charging it by a household, as I can remember. And what they were saying is there's, say, for instance, 12 people in this house or 5 people in this house, and it pays the same as the little old dear who's still living in an original house. And they were saying that wasn't fair. But when they said, you're all using the services out there, you all have to pay, there were people that went, fuck that, I'm not paying anything. And they lost their shit and went and protested. But
well, they're doing that now, aren't they? They said that in Epping and that, haven't they? And I've seen loads of videos going around like, don't pay your council tax. But don't fucking fuck them. I don't know if you can say that on your live.
Say what you fucking like, love. I mean, there's been some words said on here, let me tell you. But I don't know about you. Every year you get to hear from the council a letter that actually we're going to collect your bins less often and you can't get rid of this and you're not allowed to tip this for free anymore and not allowed to do that. And by the way, have you seen the last time they sent a road sweeper down your street? No, nor me. And it goes on. And every year you get less and less. And every year the money goes up. And it seems to me like many other taxes that they're bringing about, like the green tax, which is all lies, and the council tax, which is just a way of taking, obviously, money off you allegedly to keep up with the local amenities and stuff. It seems we get less and less and charge more and more. And it seems like what they're trying to do now is financially break us. Before, they were a little bit more coy about how they got money out of us, right? But it seems like it has to be to the case now where they have to break every one of us because socialism won't work if we all have savings. It just won't work. And if we've all got property. But if you get to a stage where the green taxes are so much because they said, well, your house is going to cost you in fines if you don't bring it up to whatever we say, it will cost you X amount of thousand a month. Or you can sign into this agreement where you can live in it for the rest of your life. And we'll get round to fixing it at some point. And at which point they'll move it. Go on.
This is something that I watched today. The whole social contract that we have, that's breaking down now, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah.
Like the whole, we go to work, we do and we've got a little bit left over. That's the social contract.
Isn't it ruled by consent and suffrage and something like that? But to be honest, it used to be, we'll go and do the blue collar work, the white collar work. We'll pay our taxes and you run the country the best you can. That was the belief. And into that, what we'll get out of it after is it Nurin Bevin or I can't remember, he's a Welsh guy anyway, that came up with the idea for the NHS, which was a perfectly brilliant idea. Bit socialist in its ways, but why not, right? I'm not saying that everything that came out of socialism was a bad idea. The idea of looking after people is a great idea. Yeah. But the thing is with our system, how it used to be that over in, say, for instance, Russia and places like that, the theory was you went to work and they decided what they were going to pay you. And also, you had what you were given flat wise. If you wanted a car, you had to wait 10 years, that kind of stuff. And then over in Romania, the joke was we pretend to work and they pretend to pay us, right? And Nurin Bevin, there you go. But over here, the idea was if you want to be a lazy bastard and do the bare minimum, you ain't going to earn very much. But the carrot that was on the end of the stick was if you work really hard and you do well at school, you will get a house, a missus, car, holidays, and all the rest of it. But I can't help thinking now that was always designed to keep us, try to keep up with the Joneses, which made us great at buying stuff, which made them money, basically. And then we would get ourselves into debt. And once we're in debt, we're easily controllable. Now, all the banks always said, get them into debt, keep them there, right? So that kind of is what it is. But now, they don't want you to actually have a great deal. They want you to get to the end of the week and think, right, I haven't got much left out of this, but at least I've got a little bit. And they'll come for that eventually. Yeah. But this is what it is. And when we're all on our knees and struggling to eat, and when those people that have come into the country are either kicking the living fuck out of us or living like kings, in comparison to us, it's every angle now, though, isn't it?
They're coming at us from every fucking angle, whether it's food, whether it's money, whatever it is, whether it's spiritually, whatever angle it is, they are just fucking trying to break us that, like, constant, I don't know.
They hate old Whitey. Now I'm going to play a clip, which will probably get me in a lot of trouble, but I don't care.
Oh, mate, shall I let someone else come in?
You can do, if you want, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Not a really nice talk. I'm glad you're doing all right, and I hope to see you do a few more lives in that, because they're good.
No worries, mate. Will do. Right, I'm just going to play a quick clip, right, and this will annoy everyone. All right, bud. I'll catch you in a bit, buddy. All right. See you in a bit, mate. Right, don't anybody ring in just a second. I'm going to play this invite. Let's get that. Right. Now this, I don't really need to actually say anything. It speaks for itself, right? But when we say that this was planned, everything you'll see in now was planned, right? We'll just listen to this and see what you think.
I think there's a resurgence of anti-Semitism because at this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural mode, and Jews will be resented because of our leading role. But without that leading role and without that transformation, Europe will not survive.
Right. Now, if you take the lies out of that, okay, Europe will survive if it was left alone to be white, predominantly white, okay? But what we've decided to do is destroy Europe, right, and its culture, and flood it with the third world who hate it, and we've decided to do that. That's an admission. That's her saying that, not me, her. And whenever these people go about saying, the Kalergi, that's a load of bullshit, right? Well, is it? Is it really? Look now what's happening. Is it really bullshit? Right? When people think about these secret societies, whether it be Masons, whether it be, what's the other one? There's a load of them actually, but you get the idea anyway, right? These secret societies have decided what they're going to do with Europe without asking Europe, because we'll do what we want. And these people are so drunk on their power, their wealth, and also they want to protect it. Now, bearing in mind, right, what I want to know is why, because the Jews complain that everybody's got a problem with them, right? And they say that they're the only people that can't be questioned, right? Because if you do, you're anti-Semitic, right? But history tells us that they've been kicked out of 109 countries. Why? I mean, if that's the case, why? Why is the question? That's what I want to know. I'm not saying why, but why? Right? Now, what I want to know is how many countries have the Hindus been kicked out of? How many countries has the Christians been kicked out of for being Christian? How many countries? This is the question. So, by the way, if anybody think I'm just starting to notice, I knew this, but you don't go straight for the balls when it comes to stuff, right? Who owns the banking system? Who changed the education system? Well, the Rockefeller Institute, who they are, right? Who's kept every country on the planet in debt. And when it looked like it was starting to get out of debt, they create a war just to put it back into debt, which is why these particular people basically can do what they like. They can run the world, right? And I'm not talking about all of them. Like, I don't talk about all Muslims or all whatever. I don't. There's some very good, nice people walking around the planet that happen to be either Jewish, right? Or that happen to be Muslim, or that happen to be fucking on the left, right? It is about what a group, in this particular case, that run our schools, run our banks, run our finances, run our education system. I've said schools, haven't I? Sorry, I'm going around in circles here. That have permeated the UN, permeated every massive organization and changed it for the betterment of their finances, their wealth, their power, and at the suffering of us lot. They could cope years ago with us having some wealth. But unfortunately, as time came along, we had TVs, we had phones, we had internet. We started to share information that they found awkward. And it's not just them. There's many globalists out there, right? And they worked out to themselves, if this carries on and these people have finance, they have wealth, they have some sort of backing. When I say wealth, they had savings, all right? If these people have enough savings that they could take a small time off, right? If they have enough education that they can learn just exactly who's fucking them and for why. And I mean, we're talking about the big dick here, not the other pricks it sends to fuck you, because Islam is a problem, but Islam has been helped and facilitated by NGOs. And who are the NGOs? Work that out. And been sent all the way across Europe, paid for, helped out, etc. Right? And they've also managed to bribe every leader in the Western world that you are going to take these, because if you don't, you're fucked. We'll ruin you. We'll destroy you, or we'll kill you. That's how it works, right? So this has gone ahead. And when people go, but we didn't vote for it. No, probably nor did the leaders of your country, actually. It was a case of you either do what we tell you and we'll get you fat rich off it, right? Or don't do as we tell you and something bad will happen. Remember him. And what about that one? Would you like your head decorated all over the wall? Nor did Kennedy, but never mind. And it'll go on like that, right? So these people either give up their job, have a moral case of, I don't know, call it what you like. I mean, give Lyndon Johnson, right? A complete fucking crook. But after he'd done the Vietnam War and he knew what had done to Kennedy, he didn't go for a second time in office, and shortly after he died. And apparently he was chronically depressed. Maybe some people do develop some sort of conscience. However, many don't. Don't forget, you look at places like Eton and all these other schools that these like toffs go to, they're reared to think of us in the same way that Islam thinks of us, right? We're in some places, depends on who you look, we're the Goyim. Otherwise, you're the infidel. But either way, sort of similarly means the same sort of thing. We're not one of them, right? We don't rate. That's the thing, right? So if you're considered to be below, and if you have a look at the very higher echelons of wealth, they don't see themselves as the same as us. They don't eat off the same tables as us. They don't go to the same places. They don't share the same company. They've never worried about, are they going to pay their rent? You know, can I actually afford to insure the car? Right, I've got bold tires. I've got to go to work. I don't want to get points, but I don't have the money to put tires on the car. Do I take the risk? They've never stressed about that, right? They never went to school and worried about getting bullying. They never went to school or worried about getting fucking raped on the way there, which is a modern day thing. As a kid, they never went outside their front and thought, am I going to get stabbed today? Am I going to get picked on by a gang? Never had that, right? All they had to work out was how they were going to grow up to be like their parents or like other people they looked up to, and how they were going to, along with a few other old boys, rule the world the way they want it to make sure that they're always in a position of power, never able to be questioned, all right, and always above suspicion, all right? Now, when you look at some of these things that happen, right, we could say Kennedy, or we could say more lately, if it looks a bit odd and it smells a bit odd, the chances are it's a bit fucking odd. Years ago, nobody would have questioned it. And the word conspiracy theorist was brought out to shut people up. But a conspiracy theorist now just happens to be somebody who doesn't suck up bullshit too well. All right. Hang on. By sheer coincidence, Tommy and Middleton just happened to be on their side. I believe they call it Zionists. The entire stage was full of them. Absolutely full of them. Now, I remember one particular female on that stage that said if she could be born again as anything, she'd be born as a Jew. That was her own words. I'm like, why would you just come out and say that? What is it that's so appealing about being a Jew that you decide you? And I'm not saying there's nothing appealing about being a Jew because I've never lived as a Jew, right? I'm just saying what would make a woman who has a certain amount of attention, a certain amount of wealth, say such a thing? What would make people completely turn a blind eye to all of the UN resolutions that over the last 20 or 30 years they flout? If we flout a UN resolution, we get spanked. They'll flout 50 a year and say, and what? So what? Fuck off, right? When you go to, say, for instance, back 10 years ago or whatever it was, when we had that massive computer crash where it fucked everything, that was Israel. What happened is the Americans had decided on behalf of Israel that they would make this thing that piggybacks on programs. And the idea was it was going to get onto somebody's computer, which would eventually get onto the hard drive so it could make it into the Iranian nuclear weapons program and disable it. Well, it just so happened that it wasn't working quick enough. So the Israelis took it back in. I'm assuming it's Mossad that did it, but it was somebody within Israel, right? And they made it so fucking super vicious that it fucked hospitals, councils, banks. It crashed computers. It wrecked people's businesses. It did this all over, but it got in and fucked up the centrifuges, right, which spin up whatever it is, and got what they want. Anyway, when it found out they came from from Israel, they went, yeah, we did it. And what? And that's the attitude, because they're better than us. Or at least they think they are. And that's the management. Ask them about the sterilization of the Ethiopian Jews. They won't want to mention about that, but they did because they didn't really like the look of them. Ask them about them having an apartheid in Israel. Don't want to talk about that. Ask them about their religious leaders blessing dumb bombs that they're slinging at the opposition. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no great fan of the opposition, but here it is. And that Charlie Kirk. Now, if you have been a supporter of Israel, or even better still, if you have been supported by the Middle East Forum, which I don't know whether he was or not, but it does seem to me that people who gain any traction in this world, because don't forget, it used to be 5 Jewish families that owned 250,000 separate media outlets. So they all sang off the same hymn sheet. And it does seem, because I know this, that you get approached by somebody from the dark side, we'll call it, all right? And they all want to see if you're susceptible to cash, right? If you've got a bit of charisma and they think that they could do work with you, they will offer you money, but you don't talk about this and you don't talk about that. Now, if you go along with that shit, you'll end up on a stage with a load of others. Another one on that stage, he has been part of religion. Then he went and decided he wanted to get into politics. Then he wanted to be a YouTuber. And his own word in a debate was, I don't really have a problem if England turned black. And he's married to a black woman, so I could kind of see why he felt that way. But he was up there playing his guitar and singing religious tunes and pretending like he's very religious. The truth is, he's a money-grabbing charlatan I don't trust. And I know people that have worked with him that don't work with him now, and they kicked him out of there, and they fucking worked out that he was a complete charlatan. So the stage was full. However, and I say this again, if Tommy can bring shitloads of people out and wake them up, then he could work for Satan himself. He's doing our work for now. But here's the problem. If he's been taken on by these people, Lawrence Fox as well, if he's been taken on by these people, then he's also going to be thrown under the bus when they've had enough of him. He probably knows that, but take it while it's there, I guess. And many of them up on that stage will eventually, unfortunately, like others, but them faster than others, will become the target of the extreme. That'll be the extreme left or even the extreme right, right? I mean, they're putting themselves at risk. Carl is all right, by the way. They're putting themselves at risk, all right? They know this, but the people who have egged them on to go and give this truth out, to get into them, to rile the people up, right, have also sent the people here that wind us up. And divide and rule is the best way to make sure nobody comes after you. And that's what it's all about, right? Which is why they're flooding the West with their own enemy, by the way, because they've ring-fenced themselves with people that they don't like and that don't like them. It's kind of stupid, but there you go. Anyway, so you send your enemy to fight your enemy. That's how it works. So that's why it's over here. But you have to fund both sides to stir up your own side, right, against the other side. If you look in the Second World War, they funded both sides. Hitler was funded. And he was funded for a reason at the time, that because Bolshevism was spreading and it was taking out the rich and fucking killing them, they didn't fancy those apples. So the words were, we will fund Hitler to the tune of, I think it was a million or 100 million Reichsmark or whatever it was at the time. He said, and this money we might not get back, but it's a small drop in the ocean compared to what happens if Bolshevism wins. We will use Germany as a bulwark against Bolshevism. That was it. So they funded both sides, and it doesn't matter who wins, they both pay back. All right. And you'll always be on the receiving end of wealth. Now, we paid fuck knows how much back on that Lend-Lease agreement and other debts we got during the war. And we also went into a nuclear thing that we ended up getting kicked out of. And that cost us a few quid. But who did we borrow the money off for the abolition of slavery? Who do we borrow money off when we need to go and fund something? It's international banking. They always say international banking. They don't ever say it who it's, right? Who owns the Federal Reserve in America? Well, it's not federal for a kickoff, and it isn't the Americans. All interesting facts, and I'll probably get myself locked up. Was it a reference Hitler? He turned on them, locked up a Rothschild. Did he be fuck? Fucking hell. That could have been the turning point, I guess. The thing is, when you own the ability to print what you like and not have anybody go against you, you can rewrite history. And so it's been done. Now, I've talked about this part many, many times, but you can always, when you take out, say, for instance, they took out Hitler. Now, I was no great fan of Hitler by what I'd heard. But the thing is, did I ever meet him? Do I actually know any real truth about him other than what I've been told? And the problem I got at the moment is everything I've been told in the past turned out to be a load of bullshit. So why should I expect that any of that was? How do I know that the numbers were correct? How do I know that these places were built and have been working? How is it when somebody does the math, they say, well, if these things were working at full on flat out speed during the war, they'd still be working 5 years after to clear the backlog. I don't have to go into too much detail, but you can work it out for yourself. I don't believe anything I'm told unless I can work it out for myself. Hitler was a shit shaving. I tell you what, he had some fucked up hairdo, didn't he? But there you go. And the fact that they reckon that he had a problem with them because over a prostitute. No, I think you find he'd worked out that they'd fucked the banking system, the political system. They were spreading porn, propaganda. They were strangling and crippling Germany. And it wasn't working very well. However, he didn't have some fucking douchebags around him, didn't he? Himmler? Really? Well, anyway, and it was amazing how much it took to take down Germany. Now, I have to say, I've been called Nazi enough times, but I'm no Nazi. And I'm not pro-Germany, although I'm not against Germany. It is what it is. Oh, and you have to say this. The man had to know his shit. How would you do a speech for 4 hours straight, or maybe longer, and keep everybody in the palm of your hand? You wouldn't be able to do that unless you actually had information that could be checked, could be, you know, that kind of stuff. There it is. Anyway, right, that's enough about that. Did anybody want to call in? Assuming this fucking thing still works and we're still connected. Yeah, apparently we are. Up to you. But while anybody's thinking about calling in, I'll go back to it. We need more protests. It has no effect on the powers that be. You've got to understand that. Not until it reaches such a mass, right, that you've got millions and millions and millions out there on the street and in every city. That's when they'd listen. But up until that point, they're more afraid of the people that own them financially than they are of the public and turning on them. And if you think about this, the point of a protest is to show others like you, you're not on your own. We feel the same as you. You can actually speak freely amongst us, right? And that's why I go to these things, not to support any agenda or to hold a man up that that is no leader, right? And he'll tell you that, right, quite freely. But every time we think we've got a leader, right, they're so flawed. You're fucked, aren't you? They're either flawed because it turns out they're a wrong un, or flawed because they're either alcoholic. I'm not alcoholic now, borderline at one point, or they've got a problem with drugs, or a problem with like gambling, or they've got something that will floor them when they least need it. And anybody who looks too good to be true probably is. We've looked at so many different people. I remember when they were looking at that skinny conservative guy that was really quite funny, but looked like Where's Wally? And I'm like, he's a multi-millionaire that lives in the poshest part up the road from me, right? And he doesn't see himself like you, and he's a really good actor. Then we had Boris. We always knew Boris was a fucking idiot. We had, who else would we have? We had Farage. He was quite convincing for a while. That was right. Rees-Mogg, right? But I am thinking that at some point when it gets really, really bad, a fucking hard cunt will come out, right, who's got integrity and morals, and probably grab us by the short and curlies and take us to where we need to go. Now, when the politicians, and I'm going to say this in the correct way so that nobody gets me confused here, right? I'm not telling you to go and do anything to a politician. Don't, for one thing. Second, think I'm saying that. Or do I agree with that? Not. However, history has a way of repeating itself. When the people have had that much that they think they've been sold out by a bunch of people they then consider traitors, they usually take the law into their own hands. History will tell you this. So the people at the moment that are selling us out, the useful idiots, or what do you want to call it? Yeah, they are the useful idiots because they're the ones that are carrying out the orders from much, much higher up. And they're the ones that are sacrificial because if they get wiped out, these people will find somebody else. But the way I see it in the future is these people will have to find themselves gated communities that have their own security, because I can see the public end up losing all sorts and saying, I've had enough, and going straight to where they see the problem, their local this or their local that. And when this starts to happen, you will see some of them decide that all of a sudden they repent. They don't feel that way anymore. They want to go and join your side. And that's the other thing as well. Nothing is more pissy than a person who fucking fought long and hard for something they truly believed in and then found out they were lied to. Some of you have maybe been through that. Many of the people who followed people who were YouTubers or people who are activists that found out actually all they were interested in was money, their own personal gains or whatever. People, when they find out that somebody's a charlatan, they get the ump and they turn on them. These lefties, when they eventually find out that they've been fucking used, they're more clever of them. I mean, they're not that clever if they can get used, but you know what I'm on about. These people will turn and they will want revenge, and they'll be a nightmare. And they'll be going after people who they could perceive to be guilty of all their failings, because most people don't take, from that side, don't have any accountability. So they'll look for somebody to blame it all on rather than actually themselves. But there it is. Right. Anyway, where are we? Right. The phone's doing something. What are we? Oh, hang on. We've got a WhatsApp call. I don't know how to do that with this one. I don't know how to work that, so not on there anyway. What are we? We are, well, we've been on for 40 minutes. We have 580 people watching on the YouTube stuff. I don't know how many other people are watching on X and on Faceache. I might see if I can get a few more of these done in the week because, but it won't be this week at the moment because I've got to go then down to the club and get some more done after work tomorrow. So life's pretty busy. And now I've got to go and cook me tea. Hey, he's probably right. You know, I probably could do with the missus. At least I get me tea cooked. Oh, hang on a minute. Right, we got one more. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Them Capri 2.8s are shite. Earlier.
Right, I didn't get all of that. What was that in English again? Shite?
I was just from Liverpool, me. But you know the one, 2.8 Capris.
Good man, good man. Yes.
I just wanted to phone. I said that I sent you what you do and that on YouTube and that.
Mm-hmm.
I said the phone in if I could. I phoned you years ago, but my missus in hospital at the moment. I'm waiting for her to get back home. Turned you on, so I don't know what's been spoke about today.
Right, bear with me a second because you keep breaking up. So I'm going to disconnect it, not you. You stay where you are, and I'm going to reconnect and see if that's any better. Just give us a second here, mate. Disconnect. Right, and then let's connect again. Yeah, just bear with me, mate. Okay. Come on, phone. Right, let's see if we can get him back. Right, you still there? Hello?
Hello, you there? Yeah.
Yeah, now I've reconnected you. It sounds better. Sometimes, once it's been connected for a while, this Bluetooth, it's shite.
The modern of technology.
Well, yeah, in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing, probably a lot better. But me, yeah, I'm just like one of those monkeys just bashing away. So anyway, you were saying that the missus is in the hospital, did you?
Yeah, she's in hospital. She's coming back.
Right.
I was just a bit worried. She's been there all day, and I'm in Wallasey at the moment, just by Liverpool.
All right, yeah.
But I threw some comments. You did the video earlier. I threw some comments on, giving you loads about 2.8 Capri and that, you know, winding you up. But
problem was I was driving a freaking truck not flat out, but yeah, I just didn't get a chance to read the bloody comments, which was a pain in the ass. I mean, I read the beginning ones that everybody's going, do a live stream. I'm like, right, good, okay, I'll do that. But yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, I spoke to you a while back. You had the fella on from Birkenhead, actually.
Right.
Must have been 18 months ago, and I was giving him loads, calling him a mank. And we was good banter.
I bet he loved that, did he? I mean,
he's most indignant, but he was all right about it. You know, in fact, you buggered off for a pee and left us talking.
That's a spirit. Yeah, that's always me. Just fuck off and leave them to it. Yeah. That's
but
go up.
I've noticed you haven't been on the YouTube as much.
No,
I was thinking to myself, you've got your job and you're doing your thing and that, but I think it's bad for you if you sort of try and make a true living out of it, to be honest.
You can't make a living out of YouTube anyway, mate.
Well, you've said this, haven't you, before? Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. If say, for instance, I became a multi-millionaire and then could employ people and have a studio and have people that would go out and get all the information, fact check it and that, and then we could have a proper studio going on, you'd make money out of that because very quickly you'd get bigger. It would be a lot more factual. You'd be able to put stuff up on there, but I can't do that when I'm driving a truck. And it's a nightmare because you've got...
You drive the big ones. You drive the big one. That's a bit of an old thing you've been driving, isn't it? You're going on about the hub brakes and all that.
That was the other day, yeah. He was a beaut. Yeah. Yeah.
The ones with the bending you drive, the big ones, obviously.
Well, the bendy ones have got discs. But it was it was a rigid that I was driving that had the drum brakes. They were fucking awful.
But what's with the bike, the motorbike anyway? You're used to that. What bike have you got now?
3. I bought a Bandit, and that's what I started on.
Yeah.
So I was at 600. Yeah, 600. But it was the one with the fairing.
Yeah.
So got on fine with that. Then I went and bought ZZR 1400, which was really mad. But it overheated, so it went straight back. Then I got the ZX10, and that's on finance.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So I'll be
What
paying
about
that
the
for the next.
H2? You're going to build the balls to get a H2 or what?
Maybe further on down the road, I'll get used to this. This is 205 to the rear wheel. Not to the rear wheel, to the crank, I should say. But then I decided I want to actually go touring. So I got myself an old Yamaha FJR 1300, and I've just been over France and Belgium on it. It was great. It was cheap to run. It started every time. It didn't cause me any bother. It did exactly what it said on the tin, and I could ride through rain with just my jeans on at about 80 mile an hour and not get wet. So it's a
great feeling. It is a great feeling. It's freedom, isn't it? I've had all the cars. I had a Pan-European. I had the S-Rad, which is similar to the Bandit. The Suzuki 600 back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an Aerox 50 at the moment, to be honest. A little scooter. The missus won't let me have any more.
Do you know what?
I put a big ball kit on it and I can clear 30 mile an hour, so I'm happy.
Cool, son. Anyway, I'm getting a bollocking by talking about bikes here because they want to talk about save the country. So I better fucking get off that.
I haven't been listening, as I explained before. So what's been the topic for tonight? What have you been talking about?
It was also all about who sent all these people over to fuck us up, who owns the banks, who... We played the Barbara Spector, who said that basically her firm wants to completely ruin Europe with multiculturalism. We were talking about how you couldn't believe pretty much everything you'd seen in the past or heard in the past, and everything's up for question.
We're in trouble, aren't we?
Yeah, proper. But I don't think, and we shouldn't take this for granted, that we've never not been in trouble in the UK. I think we probably only had about 30 or 40 years when we weren't due a war, right? And prior to that, prior to the Second World War, the First World War, and then you go back further, there was always the threat of something. So, we had a few years of what we thought was peace because we had a Cold War, and the Cold War was a dreamt up war that both sides pretended the other was the enemy and scared the shit out of their own people for profit, right? Anyway, after the fall of the Soviet Union, we couldn't use them as a boogeyman, right? But now we've got what's his chops over there, and we've ring fenced in with NATO, another corrupt organization, and we've got another phony fucking war. To be honest, that they're throwing these people through the meat grinder.
There's a lot of scaremongering going on. It seems. I've heard about these now. One of these body tents a couple of weeks ago you were talking about that you were bringing out to this company to sort of for mass casualties. And then the other day I heard about Starmer. He had 14 of these bloody armoured vehicles or something with police all over them.
They've been buying them in. They've been buying them in over the last sort of fucking 10 years, mate. So there's nothing new. But they had a massive order on body bags, and somebody picked up on it. But it might have just been that these body bags have come up at the right price, right? And they'll buy them in bulk. And somebody's got the wrong idea because there's so many times people come to me and go, "Oh, I've seen this. That must mean no." I mean, don't forget, during the Cold War, right? They spied on the West, allegedly, looking for any evidence that we were getting ready for war, right? Even to the point that when they went past the Houses of Parliament, all the offices, right, and saw the lights were on at night past the time that they did their debating, they thought they were preparing for war. They hadn't worked out that was the time the cleaners went in. That's why the lights were on. So you can get the wrong idea about something quite easily because you're not fully aware of the facts. And this is the problem with our side. We do jump to these conclusions because we're under threat.
Well, the thing is, though, your general person, they don't go, like me mum and me dad, right? They just look at the mainstream because they don't go and look for their own news. But should we have to? The news should be a true story, non-fiction, really. It should be something we all believe. And it's there to sort of alert us or to keep us informed. It's not there to set the standard or to drive a narrative, is it?
But in fairness, I don't think there was a time ever that the BBC wasn't a propaganda tool. It told the rest of the world how fucking great we were. It told us how great we were. And every time we went into a country to fuck it over to make sure that we got their mineral resources for nothing or next to nothing and literally treat them as slave labor, or whether we wanted to topple a dictator because he wasn't going to give us the right deal, we went and made up some bullshit and said that we were righteous in going in there and we're saving these people from whatever bollocks. And we fed the British and all of our our empire, the bullshit that we were doing it all for the right reasons. And these poor fuckers in the third world that couldn't actually get near a TV, couldn't come out and say, actually, they're killing us because they want cheap sugar. They want the gold, they want the minerals, they want land, they want cheap fruit, whatever it is, right? Or because somebody is perceived to be turning more left-leaning, like Iraq, like Iran. Great example, Iran, right? Turns out that the Shah of Iran had decided actually that the Americans, the CIA and that kind of stuff, they weren't that good. He'd seen how many places they toppled, how many places they coup d'etat, election rigged, assassinated, right? And he thinks, how many coup d'etats and election rigging have the Russians done? Well, probably about 1% in comparison or something like that. I'll make that figure up, but we'll say 10%, right? And I think I'm slightly better with the Russians here. And as he started leaning that way, bearing in mind, it was very multicultural at the time, the Yanks had to think, well, this is the CIA, not the Americans. We need to get him out and we need to bribe somebody who is going to take over. If we topple this cunt, that's going to be good for us. So Ayatollah Khomeini, who'd been binned out of the country, and I think he was living in the West somewhere, they basically got him back over there and they said, look, if we put you in, will you be sympathetic to us? Yep. And he says, I promise that I won't purge or persecute anybody who is against me. All right, they said, put him in. 2 minutes later, the place is like the Middle Ages. He's fucking murdered everybody that went against him, and he's made everybody wear towels, fucking ruin the place, and just sent it back to the beginning of fucking Islam, because that's how it is.
Was this the Arabs? Was this when they all had mini skirts and all that? And then all of a sudden,
and there were some fucking fit women then, mate. I was looking at a picture today in a discotheque, and it was funny because the men in their suits looked like. Do you remember ever seeing a fucking porno in the 80s that was recorded in the 70s? Yeah. They used to have them porn tashes and the dashing suits, and it was like you could just imagine these blokes going, "Yeah, baby." But anyway, right? That's how they looked. But they were enjoying themselves. They were having a night out. They were like living the life. And And I'm gutted that Islam or radical Islam took over there, but there it is.
I don't really understand. Well, I mean, I know it's a Muslim sort of connected thing, and that I'm not really that deep on all the religion. I've always tried to stop myself from sort of teaching myself anything about it, but now I find myself more and more nowadays too that I'm sort of looking into it more.
Here's the thing, that's where you've made a mistake, right? I ain't picking on you, right? Most people are like that. Yeah. I spoke to one of my close mates. Well, I don't really want to know about it. I don't. It's having that attitude that we've been taught to have, right? Yeah. Leave your neighbor alone. Leave the cunt alone. You keep up. You worry about your shit. Don't worry about him. Well, if he was making bombs, would you be interested? But the point being is, if you actually knew the underpinnings of Islam that makes its own people its slaves and plans to make everybody else its slaves, you've got two sides of Islam. You've got the political side and you've got the religious side. And there is basically two sides to it, right? So you're persecuted by its politics, and you're also persecuted by the people from within Islam if you're not a very strict Islamic follower, right?
So I've got it right. They go by the Quran, but they interpret it one way, which similar to the Bible, isn't it? You can take the Bible all different kinds of ways depending on how you look at it. But is it right that they sort of interpret it one way and then say the others don't? Is that correct?
Well, here's the thing. The Quran is not written in any chronological order, right? And it's also got add-ons to it, which is the Hadith, I believe, right?
Right.
However, the Quran will be applied to you by your particular imam, right? So you can read the book, right? But you've got to check with him, really, because if you go off the reservation and start thinking for yourself, that's not acceptable. So you'll go to your imam and say, how do I take this? And he'll give you his version of it, right? And he'll say that's the true word of Allah, right? Bearing in mind, Allah couldn't get it right. And then I'll say this because Allah's scribe back in the day was listening to the way Allah was trying to put across one of his perceptions about stuff. And he said, Allah, that does make sense. Do you mean blah, 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 blah. And Allah stopped and he thought, and he went, yeah, that's what I meant. He said, was it Allah? Hang on, I can't remember. Which word am I using it? Is it Allah or who was the one that fucking took Aisha? Am I getting this?
Oh, Muhammad.
That's it. It's Muhammad. I'm saying, right? So Muhammad was trying to denote the words of Allah, right? And it was him that had his scribe say to him, do you mean this? And he went and he thought about it for a while and he went, yeah, actually I do. You must be a prophet also. And this scribe went away because Allah was illiterate. Oh, not Allah, fucking Muhammad was illiterate. He went away and thought, do you know what? I think this bloke could be full of shit. So decided to travel across the desert and join Christianity. Now, that could be the early stages of how you couldn't leave Islam because it'd be punishable by death. Because maybe they'd worked out, even in the early days, that if people catch on to just how much shit we're throwing out here, they'll all leave and you can't leave. And it's a bit like Thatcher said, people from within Islam and people from within socialism, but she didn't say the Islam bit, but it counts for that as well, don't like to give people the option of free will, free speech, and the freedom of choice. Because the problem is they may not choose socialism or they might not choose Islam. So you have to force them. And this is the problem we've got at the moment. We're being forced to accept everything.
Can I change the subject? I'm looking, you have to forgive me. I'm looking at you on telly, but it's turned down. I'm seeing your lips moving and I'm trying to listen to you at the same time. It's confusing.
It's impossible. Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was, something's come on the scene. I love YouTube and I keep watching. Something's come on the scene in the last couple of weeks that's really, I've heard of it before. This Fabian thing, what's that all about?
The Fabian Society?
Yeah. Starmer's in all that, isn't he?
I'm not entirely up to speed on it, but from what I can understand, they represent evil.
Yeah, they're cutthroats, aren't they? It seems, they're not nice.
Well, if you,
I think Blair was in there, wasn't he, with them? And Starmer's supposedly one of them.
Well, if you look back, in America they had the Skull and Bones, right? And 2 American presidents were part of Skull and Bones, and they were what they called brothers under the skin. Now, this was a secret society that scratched each other's back and covered up stuff for each other and pushed each other forward in the same way the Masons have done it. Now, this Fabian Society, probably I could do with looking into that, but I'm fairly sure that this world is run by evil and greed. And if that is the case, we know that these people that are part of this, I mean, how many people did Blair murder when he went into a war for weapons of mass destruction that they knew didn't exist? They were going in just to remove Saddam Hussein.
That was naughty, what he did.
But you know why they wanted to get rid of him, don't you?
Well, I've got my own theory, but that's a bit conspiratorial. I mean, I'm talking Nimrod and all that, so I wouldn't go there. But go on, tell me.
Basically, both Saddam Hussein and what's his name, Gaddafi, decided they were sick and tired of making the people who own the petrodollar, the Americans, the money that they were. And it wasn't just the Americans, obviously the private banking and stuff. They didn't want these people getting rich off their product. So what they were going to do is cut them out of the deal and trade in. One was going to do it in the gold dinar, which was Gaddafi, and Saddam Hussein was going to do it in the euro, which I don't know if it's a good idea or not. And the rich elite stood to lose a fuckload of money. And if you cut these cunts out of everything, right, they will move heaven and earth. They'll do all sorts just to make sure they get the money back. Zionist, petrodollar, right? So if you look at the Russians, and I can't remember what it's called, but they've decided to start trading in something else at the moment. And they've been doing it a little while, and I can't remember what it's called. But there's a few of them in that block that have decided to trade not in the petrodollar. And that might be part of the reason why African dinar is another one. But this might be the case of why there's such a problem with him. But I don't know.
Did you see the court case with Saddam when he done his speech?
Yeah,
and he gave it to them.
You get rid of me, and you will open up the floodgates. You may think I'm a bad man, but I have to rule with an iron fist because these people do not understand anything else.
He told them straight and going on about his dad's watch and all that. Brilliant. I loved it.
Everybody slagged him off, right? Now, I'm not saying he was
Yeah.
a good man, right? I'm not saying that at all. And his early days, he was quite a violent man. But how the hell do you keep people in line that have got an IQ in their 80s, 70s, and 80s? They don't do law and order in the same way that we do. What they understand is fear. They understand pain. And he knew this. And the idea being is if you stepped out of line, you got the fuck kicked out of you. And that's the only way that people understand. The more stupid you get, the only thing you understand is pain. What does a toddler understand? It understands a smack on the ass, but it doesn't understand the finer points of politics, does it?
I've been saying that for years, you know. I've been saying for years, you give them a smack on the wrist and it shocks them and they realise they've done. I mean, you can't shout at somebody if they've done something wrong and they didn't know they were doing it wrong. But if they're doing it and they know they're doing it, then they should get a leathering. It's as simple as that.
Well,
in my book.
This is why you used to get caned at school.
I don't mean the kids, by the way.
No, true, but you used to get slapped by your parents and the cane at school, and that it spare the rod, spoil the child. That was meant for a reason, right? But it also works on adults. I mean, you had Borstal for kids that were real nightmares, and I'm not saying Borstal was great, not at all. And you had prison, which was horrible back in the day. By the time that I went to prison years ago, I mean, we had no PlayStation, nothing like that, but it was nothing like it should have been. I went in there and slept a lot of the time, and I came out thinking, well, that was a waste of my time. But it didn't scare me about going back in there. But if I'd have been doing traditional blue brick, where you were out there scrubbing the fucking landings and shit like that, I might have been thinking twice.
Well, do you know what? I tell people I went to prison. I got done for years ago when I was about 18. What I did was I had this old car, and I crashed it, and it made out it was stolen. And I ended up going into court, and I got a bollocking for it. And the judge said, I'm sending you to prison for 1 day. And he made me sit at the back of the courtroom all day. And that was it, my sentence, which was kind of good.
Yeah, well, you got to see a bit more. But somebody was saying there about Gaddafi being a great nationalist. Do you know that Gaddafi said, I will house everybody in my country before I house my mother? And he did.
Wow.
She lived in a tent for the rest of her life. However, it was a fucking lovely tent, and she didn't want for anything. But he also said...
He met a terrible ending, didn't he?
Yeah. He said to people, he said, you have a family, I'll help you. You want to buy a house? I'll help you. You want to go to university and we don't do the course over here? Tell me the country it does. I'll pay for you to go there. I'll pay for your train. He could ride round in a car that was a convertible, stood on the top with just his driver, and nobody wanted to kill him. Can't say that about our politicians.
Couldn't do that.
You can't say that about our politicians, and you didn't, all these people that are meant to be really bad, right? Why is it all the good ones need so much protection?
Well, I don't know whether he went down to that thing on the 13th in London or not.
Yeah.
But I was watching all the different people, high profile people of all, you say left, you say right, whichever. But I was watching Ben Habib, and I don't know whether you like him or you don't, but he was talking freely to everybody.
I don't trust the guy.
I thought, that poor fellow, that Charlie Kirks, what happened with him a couple of days ago, that's just happened. And people out there, they've got the confidence to stand there in the public without fear of, anything like that happening. Now, there's certain individuals in Parliament, I don't think that they could do that somehow. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, there's not a political person in the UK that I would want that to happen to. There isn't, right?
No.
In fact, I can't think of anybody that hasn't. The only people that I would not have that bother me too much is if they'd done stuff to kids, and then really I don't care,
that's true.
right? But other than that, right, generally speaking, if we start accepting that as an option, then we have slid so far down the social order that we're fucked. Yeah. We've now become a third world country, a rogue nation. When you start just taking your people out willy-nilly because you don't agree with them, right, then we've lost our position on the world stage as being a democratic, although that's a bit of a joke, or at least a first world country, right? Because what do they do over in the third world countries? They go around fucking offing people. You can't do that. Now, I'm not surprised that they've done it in America, because the more you embolden and the more you brainwash these useful idiots, these, as I said earlier on, I got off somebody else, these political prostitutes, these no barriers parenting, always were told they were going to get something for nothing, right? These people, right?
Yeah.
And then you embolden them and say that you're so brave and you're so strong, and if you do this, you'll be loved by everybody, right? Well, they're so full of narcissism that they'll go out and do it. And they also deep down realize they're quite shit and they're never going to achieve anything. So this is the only way they'll get any notoriety. I mean, take for instance that bloke that took out John Lennon. He knew he was never going to be anything, right? And he had mental health problems, but tell me somebody, I mean, if you think he's got mental health problems, at least he knew he was a bloke, right? We've got people out there that see a cock between their leg and try and tell themselves they need a smear test, right? If that ain't insanity, I don't know fucking what is, right? So, Mark Chapman. So we have worse than that now, right? And these people, are we surprised when somebody's decided they've been talked into it that basically you should change your sex, get your cock off, right? Have the operation, right? And then once you've told them to do that, that hasn't fixed their problem, so they're more depressed than they ever were. Now they got a problem with the planet, and you're also telling them now, after you told them it would be a good idea to go get that done, that the right wing want them all dead, which they don't, right? Just because you don't agree with what they've done, or you don't think it's healthy, or you think they've got a mental health problem, you're not out there trying to get them fucking any harm come to them. You want them fixed. You don't want them bad, right? But
you know what, though, Simon, with all those people, I mean, if you do whatever you've got to, that's fine. But like half of them want to keep the cock, which you can't understand.
Yeah, this is a problem I've got. I can't unpack it literally. I wouldn't want to anyway. But you're a bloke, and you're dating a bloke that hasn't had his cock removed, but because he thinks he's a bird, that makes you straight.
Yeah.
So
and chivalry's dead, so there's no benefits, is there?
So hang on a second. How do they unpack this? You're sucking on a fucking 6-inch clitoris, are you? That chucks yogurt? No, I don't fucking think so. You're gay, right?
That's one budgie's tongue, that.
All I'm saying, mate, is if you can get fucked in the ass by a 6-inch clitoris, I want to know what steroids it was on, right? That's all I'm saying, right? Anyway, it's a mad.
And then there's all. I don't understand the him, it's all the pronoun thing as well, because how can you? I mean, you're going to insult someone unless you ask them what they want to be known as.
Well, no, you don't. If they say I'm insulted, so you're mental. Fucking being insulted is the last of your fucking problems. If you haven't got a clue what you are, you've got bigger problems than me gendering you correctly, you fuckwit. Now, the only people
sorry, go on.
The only people that should be called they, them. Do you remember those two twins, right? Those women that were married, like their bodies married, got two heads on one shoulder, yeah? Right?
Oh, yeah. Are they still alive? Yeah.
Yeah, and they got married, didn't they, right? Or one of them got married. Now,
right. Yeah.
You can call them they, them, all right? Because they are they, them, right? And I think everybody here has thought at one point or another, how do they do stuff? Do you know what I mean? And was the man, did the bloke that married one of them think to himself, I like a bargain, I'm getting 2 for 1. I mean, come on. And
I hope he got on with his sister-in-law. That's all I'm saying.
Well, can you imagine if he didn't? She'd be giving him the fucking evils all the way through the job, right? Or whistling, or reading a book, or worse still, saying, I've had better. Fuck it. That'd hurt, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
Can you imagine? She's arguing with the other one, nutting her like this. Shut up, you're ruining it for me. Well, you will bring him round here. I don't like him. Well, I don't like your boyfriend. Well, you don't fucking say this when you're doing it. Yeah, I can imagine that'd be quite the fucking night out, wouldn't it?
Do you know what? They were lovely then too, them girls, weren't they?
Yeah.
Don't you think? I watched the documentary. They were fantastic, I thought. Loving life. Good on them.
Yeah, and fuck me. I mean, skillful. How the fuck do you ride a bike? And I'm talking, I'm being sensible here, right? They can ride a bike, drive a car, all of that stuff. That's impressive shit. I wonder if
for someone in life.
I wonder if they've actually got to speak to each other, or where they could just think to each other.
I think you do that. I think I've seen them do that. Where like I'll start the sentence and she'll finish it. You know the way you do that. Yeah. I think you do all that, but I've seen twins do that before as well.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
It's a mental thing. Anyway, look, I am actually generally got to get off because I've got to cook my tea and it's getting later now and I've got to be up at 12 o'clock in the morning.
Simon, I'd love to speak to you. Lovely to speak to you. I'm going to go and see if the missus is back anyway by now.
All right, matey.
Thank you very much for the talk. And Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Maybe do a bit more YouTube and that.
I'll try
What
to.
else? You're on Rumble. You're on the Rumble. Yeah.
If it's still uploading it, then yeah, I am. But otherwise, I don't actually go and put any content out to that. So it used to naturally upload it. So
any other channels or anything you're on?
Right, I got Rev on a Rant, Big Dave Green occasionally. Nope. I've got Man Up. I've got Reverend Simon Sideways. Rev on a Rant.
I followed you on when I last spoke to you. You said you were going to locals, but I didn't really understand how that worked. I think you were going over to a Rumble or something like that at the time, but I couldn't get over because we were on the telly.
To be honest, it was not really much of a goer, and I think that's more for people that was trying to make money out of it. I just wanted to get my message out there. So, anyway, I shall jump off, and I will see you.
Nice to speak to you.
All right, mate. You take it steady. Right.
Okay.
I will say goodbye to all of you now. I hope you're all right with that, and it all went all right. I'm going to jump off. There is a caller, but I really got to get on. I've got to have me tea, go to bed. So I'll see you all in a bit.